Hello everybody and welcome back to Juno New Origins, where as promised, I got us back to here with the chair and driver intact, and now we need to get up this mountain to checkpoint 8, which I believe is the final checkpoint location. And I'm not sure how we want to tackle that yet. Oh, there's apparently an encampment here. Interesting. A very orange encampment. Okay. Well, that's fine. We're going to head up. I think this is like almost a switchback here. So we're going to head up over this direction for the time being. So we just need to make our way up over there, right? And that should be relatively easy to do. So let's just head on up over here. At least a little bit. Okay, there we go. This vehicle is still a little bit on the floaty side, but it's definitely much improved from that first iteration. No doubt about that. And we're just going to head right on up this portion. We're about a kilometer... Ooh, this is very slippery up here. Hang on. There we go. We'll go this way. We need to go about a kilometer further. Ah, we're stuck on our battery tank here. Okay, so the problem there is that the terrain just isn't as flat as we would like it to be. Cool. So let's just continue heading in a slightly different angle. Let's see about going up here. How viable is that? This seems pretty viable, to be honest. Okay. Yeah, this seems good. So then, I think that we want to get here and go up the ridge here. We're going to have to be kind of careful up here. That's for sure. But right up over this direction is the way to go. Okay, we're about 200 meters away from our checkpoint. Let's bring it to a bit of a halt, but that is scaling the mountain. Okay, cool. I'm trying to bring us to a halt here. There we go. So that looks good. Where is the village from here? Ah, there it is, out over there. Cool. The tallest point is taller than this, but we exceeded 4 kilometers. So let's end this flight and recover this craft. 3.3 million recovery bonus. Wow, okay. Cool. Apparently this does cost 3.3 million, so that is certainly noted. Now, this contract. This one's going to be interesting. I'm going to do a first test launch of something very dumb here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new craft, and this is fine. All I want to do is I want to get eyes on where our target is, right? So I'm just going to put a fuel tank here, and we're going to put in probably a mage engine here. There we go. And as far as the cycle of this, we can see we're already at 2.3 million. We should probably put in a nose cone. That would be a helpful thing to have. And then the engine itself, what are we at? 5.3 thruster weight. Okay. We're going to put this out on the... Where are we supposed to launch this from? Hang on. Launch a new craft. Just from anywhere. Apoapsis of greater than 78.1, but we're supposed to be suborbital. Okay. Let's put this for now on the village launch pad. One or more issues? It's already too tall for the village launch pad. Okay, I guess we're supposed to do this on the alley pad then. That's fine. So we'll put this on the alley pad, and let's see what we can find in terms of where this drone ship is. So this is it here. We're clearly supposed to launch from the alley pad. Okay. So this is out to the east. So we'd want to pitch over at least somewhat to the east, right? This is obviously not going to get us there, for the record. This is mostly just a, determination of where some of these things are. So let's launch this off over this way. You can see we've got some shock diamonds there. That's not shocking, but well, it is kind of shocking, but not in the way you might think. They pretty much immediately iron out, and the question then is, if we were to take this to around a 45-degree pitch here. In fact, I want this all the way over to about a 20-degree pitch. Our apoapsis is going to have to go up high enough. Yeah. Nose cone is taking heat damage. That's not shocking. We're not particularly high up here. I just want to do a little coasting. Wait a sec. This is from the Drew Space Center. Okay. The alley pad's down here. Drew Space Center is here. This is clearly then supposed to be from the village pad. So that is definitely a lesson learned. And that means that we're going to need a little bit less height here. Let's make this nose cone be a lot stubbier. And then let's launch that from the village pad. Okay, so with this launched from the village pad, we're going to need quite a lot of altitude here. So I'm going to put this at like 80. And we want this to be going out easterly. Okay, so something about like this. I want a lot of altitude. Once we're at about 60-ish kilometers of altitude, we can bring this back. But this is going to have to be dialed in. We're going to have to figure out a procedure for this, for sure. So this is about 40 kilometers of altitude. I'm bringing us over to about 39, I guess. And then now I want to be over at about 20. Okay. Cutting the throttle. And we need to aim for the center of the drone ship, which is currently about 1,000 kilometers away. Wait a sec. Right, this is from the Drew Space Center. We don't have that unlocked, do we? This is the wrong place again. Hang on. Let's see if that's actually where we need to go. No. So this is currently locked. So we have to land on that without launching from that launch pad. Noted. So the alley pad is going to be the best place to launch this from. So that means that we're going to need to angle a little bit north. And we're going to need... Actually, let's just see what this looks like. If we stay on the same heading, let's put our pitch at 45 and see where this goes. Because we do pick up a little bit of inclination naturally from the alley pad. So I'm just putting this at 45 degrees. And we can see that our apoapsis is going to push up here. But yeah, I think we're definitely going to need to put our heading a bit to the north. Hang on, I want to grab the heading here. Let's put the heading at about 75 degrees. Okay. And the apoapsis here, we can see, is not really as high as we'd like it to be, but that's understood. Okay. It's now high enough. So let's see. Yeah, we're losing a lot of our horizontal speed, which isn't surprising. So that seems to be about the right setup there. Noted. Okay. So we can see that the drone ship, yeah, 75 appears to be pretty close to where we're going for. We're going to need a lot more horizontal speed. That's for sure. But I want to go up faster and then go over, I feel like. We're going to need more fuel, and this was all just sounding out where this is going, right? So that is fine. So for now, I'm going to detach this guy, and we're going to put in another stage here. This is going to be our landing stage. So I'm going to put in a fuel tank here, and we're going to want to move this whole thing up a fair amount. I also want to make sure that we have gyroscopes in here, so we're going to do that. And then we're going to probably duplicate this same engine and put it here, and then have an interstage there, and then increase the size of this engine to maybe like 7.5, or rather the size of this stage to maybe like 7.5, and it would be something kind of like this. So we'd have an ascent stage, and then this would be our landing stage, but we're going to have to do some sideways burning in it probably as well. So what issues have we been found? Needs battery to use autopilot. Oh, we don't have battery in here? Right. I want the battery volume to be like 25%, and the gyro volume to be like 75%. Okay, that's the problem here. There we go. Something kind of like that, because we're going to need to flip it as we come around. So this is going to be interesting. No doubt about it. We'll see how we pull this off, but it's going to be a lot of trial and error. So we know that approximately 75 degrees is correct, and then I want this to take us up a lot more. So about 85 degrees on the pitch. Our thrust to weight's going to be a lot lower, but it's going to be good enough for now. We've got about 1 minute of burn time here, and we should probably alter this engine a little bit. We can see that it's not perfect at sea level, but it does improve fairly quickly. Okay, so I just want to punch us up through the atmosphere very significantly here. And then we're going to need to get a lot of horizontal speed. So I'm just going to hold us here until such a time as our apoapsis is, or actually maybe we burn this whole thing out here. We'll see what that feels like. That thrust to weight is definitely improving. So we're up to 30 kilometer apoapsis right now with 20% fuel remaining. Okay. And then landing legs up here would probably be useful, but I'm not expecting to seriously finish this landing right now. Okay, so that ascent stage did not succeed in ascending us all the way to the goal. But we're just going to bring this guy over like this. Because now we need to get ourselves a lot of horizontal speed. Enough horizontal speed that we're going to make it to the ship and pass over it a little bit. Okay, so something kind of like that. Now we've got 28% fuel left, and that's of course going to be an issue. Our nose cone is currently taking heat damage, although it's not going up very significantly. That seems good. Let's drop ourselves over to retrograde now that our heat is going down. There we go. And of course, we're at an altitude of 110 kilometers here, so we're not going to see very much drag. So we've overburned this a little bit. That's understood. Let's just bring this back to be something like this or so. That engine does not start and stop on a dime, so that is noted. Okay, so this is our current trajectory. We are going to slow down somewhat, but let's just go ahead and warp to here. And you can see as we do that, it's orbiting and rotating underneath us as well. It's going this direction. So that seems relatively fine. This is close. I highly doubt that we're going to succeed here. What's our delta V here? 1.74? I don't think that's quite enough to do a landing, but we'll see. So we're about to enter the atmosphere here. Let's see how this goes on this first quote-unquote real attempt. I don't expect this to actually work. We don't have landing legs on here. Our delta V is a little on the low side, and we'll see how this ends up going. So we're in atmosphere right now, and we're overshooting this a little bit, so we're anticipating atmospheric drag to pull us this way. We're anticipating rotation of Kerbin to pull this way. So we're going to meet somewhere in the middle, and we're going to have to dial that in. So you can see here our surface velocity is increasing right now. We are going to be seeing that start to go down as we see our altitude go down. So our drag is going to be getting higher and higher. And we've only got so much DV on this. I wonder if we should try to land with parachutes on it. That would be an interesting thing to do. We can now see the drone ship as a little speck there. This is going to be a very precision landing, though, and I don't know how precisely we're coming in here. We can see here we're slowing down. Okay. So we're almost certainly going to miss this, but I'm still going to go for it. It's good practice. So let's do a bit of a burn here. Yeah, we should definitely be burning right now. Okay, I'm turning off that burn for the moment. We're going to coast again. I have no idea where our overall trajectory is going to bring us in here. This is just a mess at this point. Although it looks like we are heading slightly off this way. So I think our overall heading is not quite where we want to be. We'd want to move it like out over here. Grid fins would probably be a useful thing to be able to help us steer here. Okay. So this is our retrograde vector right here. That's noted. We're going to want to whip this all the way around and burn it out this direction a little bit. But again, I don't think we have enough DV for this. This is just a first attempt and seeing how close we can get. So that was a small corrective burn, and I think we're still overall going to be missing by some amount. Yeah, we're going this way now. We kind of need to go like up over here. Okay. Let's just lock it to retrograde and see where we manage to get to and commence a burn fairly soon here. We have enough DV at this point to actually bring this for a landing, but we're going to be a ways off of the center here, and that is absolutely understood. So this is not a bad first shot, I feel like. I mean, we're under 5 kilometers away. We don't really have the delta V in this to be able to push us up there. We're not going to hit the drone ship, obviously, but we're going to splash down about 4 kilometers away. That's not too bad, actually. If we had more DV here, we could try to dial that in. Okay, let's slow this guy right on down here. So hopefully we survive the splashdown a bit. Okay, we've got a little bit of DV left. I'm going to wait till we're a little lower. But we've got 0.22 meters per second. Okay, so this is the best we're going to get. 3.5 kilometers. And yeah, don't touch the water. So we're going to have to retry that. But honestly, that did better than I was expecting it to. Okay, so a couple of things that I would like to do here. Some sort of a steering apparatus up here would be very useful. So to that end, what do we have available? We have fins. If we hop into the career, or rather, not the career, the tech tree, we can probably get grid fins. So that would be, I'm guessing, that's all parachute stuff. Yeah, modern engineer would get us engine size. More engine size stuff. More engine size stuff. Okay. Gauges, toggle switches, and multifunction display. Sure. Control surfaces per wing. That's getting a little bit better. Propellers. I'm wondering where grid fins would be in this. Presumably they're around somewhere. That's all landing gear stuff. That's all truck stuff. Yeah, it shouldn't be there. I'm sure it's in here somewhere. It's always a bit of a pain to find stuff in this. But eventually we'll locate it. I don't know if we can get it right now. We'll see. So yeah, space habitat. Maybe it doesn't exist. I would think that it would be somewhere out over, like, here, right? Or, let's see, that side detachers. Where was it that we got this from? Plan maneuvers. Definitely not that one. Well, it's theoretically in here somewhere, but I don't think it's strictly speaking necessary. I think if we had a little more fuel in this stage, or if this stage was a little more powerful and took us a little further. Let's put that up to 10 meters, and I'd like to adjust the nozzle throat size of this guy, boost that up a little bit. And it's on a Bravo nozzle right now. I'd like to do a Bell nozzle, and I'd like to have this be surface level optimized. So that would be, looks like 2.18 or around a 55% nozzle length. Seems okay. We could boost this size. I don't think that's necessary, though. Our thrust to weight is plenty good. Like, look at that ending thrust to weight. That's insane. So that seems reasonably good. Then as far as the actual landing process goes, a little more DV here is probably not strictly speaking necessary. But I do want to get some landing legs on here for sure. That would be a good thing. So piston legs or KIS legs? I think KIS legs are the way to go. So we would put these in here or so. And then we would want these to be mirrored about like that. And what do these look like when deployed? Okay, we remove the interstage and take a look at where that's going. That's a little too high. I think that's very clear. So this mage engine is probably overkill for this. If we look in here, we can see the starting thrust to weight is 4.4. Okay, we could probably tune down the throat size of that a little bit to around maybe 100%, or no, to around maybe like 60%, or that's about 2 thrust to weight. Maybe a little higher than that, 2.5. Okay, so something like that. This is a Bravo nozzle right now. We could have it go for a bell nozzle and have very little nozzle length. I don't think that's strictly speaking necessary. So I'm going to move these guys down considerably to be in theory about there. Although I think we can maybe get them a little lower than that. Maybe not. That seems to be about as low as they'll go. Okay, so that is fine for right now. We'll just put them in something like that. Okay, so we know that we need to launch at somewhere around a 75-degree angle. It is not... that wasn't perfect, for sure. So let's try a heading of 70 and see what happens. I'm going to launch this straight up, I think. Actually, we know that we're going to have some extra thrust to weight, right? I kind of want to put us at exactly a 45. We'll see if we have any nose cone heating issues. But over we go. Let's see what this feels like. Okay, so this is going to get us a lot more horizontal speed and a lot less vertical speed. We overshot our verticality, there's no doubt about that. The landing legs are going to deploy as part of this stage, which isn't necessarily ideal, but that's not really what we're testing here for right now. We're testing trajectories at this moment for trying to figure out what we need to hit to get this thing done. We got very close in the last attempt, 4 kilometers off. We can definitely dial that in with a little bit of extra DV, but here you can see this apoapsis, not very high. So 45 is probably not the choice here. Okay. So the landing legs are, you know, awkward right now. No doubt about that. I would like to be in basically the correct apoapsis from that first stage. So I think adding power to that first stage is not a terrible concept. Or just angling higher. Which is what I'm going to do right now. Okay, so that's good. Now I want to lock us to retrograde. So we're still quite low at this point. Actually, we still need to be locked to prograde and dropping this guy down to 0. We're going to need horizontal speed. So we're going to head out over this direction. And it looks like we are heading too far this way, so let's set our heading to around 82 degrees-ish. Actually, let's move this over quite a lot more. About there. Okay. Now we're going to park retrograde, and we'll see how this goes. I'm not necessarily expecting it to go the best, but let's warp on forward to about here or so. And yeah, this is just completely spitballing at this point. We're just trying to dial in delta V's and trajectories. I feel like 45 is too low for that initial stage. I'll try 60 next. And as far as the actual landing here goes, I don't expect this to work, for the record. I do not expect this to be a functional landing here. We're in approximately the correct trajectory, but as you can see here, we're a little off. So we're going to need to angle it off this way a little bit. So I'm going to burn, like, here a little bit. Okay, something kind of like that. Then we're going to bring this around to... Actually, we overburned that, didn't we? It's hard to get the exact angle there. We need to be going, like, this way. Yeah. And of course, we're too low on fuel. So this is not going to work, but I'm still working on dialing all of that in. So let's see what that's going to end up looking like. Yeah. We're out of fuel at this point. So it's definitely something that we're going to pull back on. We're going to retry this, but we're dialing it in for sure. Let's see what this is going to look like. We're going to massively overshoot due to that correction, but for the moment, that's okay. See, we would normally be burning right now to get rid of this excess horizontal velocity, but you can see we are a little off on our overall trajectory. That's going to be the complicated thing. Usually, when I do this sort of a precision landing, the way that I like to do it is we get directly over the object and then we just drop straight down. And that might be what we end up going for here. That's not going to be the best way to do it in terms of fuel economy. But this was definitely a worse attempt. Okay, well, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to continue working on refining this. It's definitely going to need more fuel. We might try heavy lifting that first stage. We'll see what that feels like. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings. And a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Atala, Andy Magar, Ali Lee, Dark Horse Xenocyte, Hiro Muratsu, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.